Hey everyone, and welcome to the Jess Get Hired Podcast. I want to welcome you guys to my sizzling summer series of the Jess Get Hired Podcast. I am your host, Jessica Fiesta George, and this is a new format that I introduced for the summer. These are called Hot Takes. These are scorching conversations with your top business influencers, career coaches, and some people that you've probably seen on my show before. And we're here to serve up spicy nuggets of information that you can digest with ease. And guess what? This summer, we introduced the Spicy Gnome Hot Sauce, who is sponsoring this podcast episode because they're offering flavor-packed experiences like no other. So you need to buckle up, join us on a flavor-packed journey that's going to leave your taste buds craving for more. And if you love this new summer series of the Jess Get Hired podcast, don't forget to go visit thespicygnome.com and order your bottle of hot sauce today. Well, I want to welcome you back to our summer series. I know the summer is almost over, but that's okay because I'm going to continue on with hot takes. So today's hot take is all about getting fired from a job and then bouncing back stronger than ever. And I'm not sure about you guys, but have you ever been fired from a job before? Trust me, it is not the best feeling. I used to be embarrassed sharing my own story about being fired, and I'm sure I'm going to share that on another episode, but I thought that being fired would really interrupt my job prospects and really hurt me in the future. But guess what? Here I am. I bounced back. I learned from it, and I refuse to let it redefine my future. And I'm here rocking my career, and I'm going to help you rock yours too. Well, speaking of incredible comebacks, I have the one and only Lori McDowell on the show today. She's not just your run-of-the-mill entrepreneur. She is the CEO of Reimagine You Strategies and a strategic partner with Schoolie Mitchell. Yep, you heard that right. She's all about helping individuals and businesses thrive. And with Schoolie Mitchell, she's on a mission to slash expenses and supercharge operations of businesses. Well, Lori's brand new venture at Reimagine You Strategies is all about coaching, public speaking, training people to overcome obstacles and find their true career and life fulfillment. So let's also not forget, she's also writing a book called The Reinvention Mindset. So I'm sure she's going to tell us all about that, but she is a dynamic force to be reckoned with. Her journey from being fired to fierce is today's hot take. So let's welcome her in. All right, Jess Get Hired podcast family. I'm excited to welcome in Lori McDowell to the Jess Get Hired Hot Takes. How are you doing today, Lori?
I am doing fantastic.
Awesome. Well, we're going to talk about being fired and bouncing back. We're calling this episode Fired to Fierce. So hopefully we can tell everyone about our Get Fired story. So why don't you just go ahead and tell us, what is your Fired-At-Work Saga?
Well, I had a job that I had been working at for about 10 years. And for 9 of that years, I was super happy. And then my boss retired and a new boss came in, and it really just changed the picture of the whole job. I really didn't enjoy it. I wasn't happy. So I asked them, can I start another side business, which I did. And they said that was fine. So I started doing a business part-time, which is one of the things I'm doing now. And I wasn't doing it during business hours. It wasn't interfering in my other job. I didn't think there was any conflict, but apparently the company did. And they had asked me to not post on LinkedIn so much or to do a few things. So I said, okay, I will try to keep it separate. But one day we had a sales meeting, and it was scheduled months in advance. And I was on a phone call with my boss and a customer that morning, and everything seemed fine. I told my boss, I'll see you this afternoon. And I drove to Austin, Texas, which is about 3.5 hours away from where I live, for the sales meeting. And I went to the hotel, and I went to check into the hotel, and they said, oh, your room was canceled. I was like, what? I'm like, oh, it must have been a mistake. They're like, oh, we can reinstate it. So they reinstated the room. One of my coworkers who was going to the meeting showed up, and we were joking about it. And he's like, oh, I bet that's the way of firing you. I'm like, yeah, they canceled my room to fire me. And so I had a meeting with my boss prior to the sales meeting. I go down to this room to meet my boss. And as I walk in the room, there's another vice president sitting there, which I thought was very strange. And then there's also I notice his phone is sitting there. And all of a sudden he says, we have HR on the phone. We're terminating
Oh,
you. And I was just like, what? I mean, I was in
oh
shock.
no. Yeah, that's crazy. Well, whenever they get HR on the phone, I know HR gets a bad rap, but sometimes, sometimes it's good, but when that
Mhm.
happens, you know it's coming. So, I mean, how did it hit you? Like, how did you
The
feel? I mean,
first it was shock. I was almost like, are you kidding? You made me drive 3.5 hours to fire me. If you were going to fire me, why didn't you just tell me this morning? We were on the phone. And then I was angry because they were treating me like, they're like, well, turn in your computer right now. And I was asked, can I get some stuff off of it? And they're like, no, we'll send you anything personal. Turn it in immediately. And I felt like this company that I had pretty much given my life to for the past 10 years was suddenly treating me like, that I was stealing trade secrets or something, that just very
right. Yeah.
disrespectful. So I was angry and I felt disrespected at first.
uh, when you give 10 years to a company, you would expect at least a little bit. I mean, I don't even understand why they had you drive 3 hours where they could have just called you on the phone or said it like even on a
Mhm.
Zoom meeting or something like that, to wait. They wasted your time. So I bet that drive home was probably, a whirlwind of feelings for you, wasn't it?
It it was, it was interesting because I was still angry when I left the hotel, and after I left the meeting, my boss came over and tried to make it sound like he had nothing. Oh, HR wanted to do it this way, and I was just like, "Go away! I don't want to hear
Right.
anything from you." And I got in the car and I started driving home, and I decided, it was 5 o'clock at night. I didn't feel like doing a 3-hour drive, so I decided to call a friend who lived about an hour away and see if I could spend time with her. And as I was driving there, I was still angry and I was still scared because suddenly I had to find a source of income. My
Right.
business had not really gotten, I had just been started a couple months, so it was not making money
Mhm.
yet. But all of a sudden, I felt lighter. I felt relieved. I thought about, wow, I don't have to go to these meetings anymore. I don't have to do this job that I'm really not happy with. I don't have someone checking in on me every day to make sure I'm doing what I'm supposed to. And I just actually felt better. I felt lighter. I felt almost happy.
Yeah, well, as they say, things happen for a reason, even though it's frustrating and it hurts at the time, especially when you get fired because you're not sure what's going to happen to you next. But I mean, are there any big takeaways that you would snag from your experience? I mean, obviously you felt a lift, a lighter lift off your shoulders, but how did you, I mean, yeah, any takeaways really? And then how did it shuffle the way that you handle curveballs that are happening in your life?
Yeah, I guess the biggest takeaway was to realize that, it's not me. Maybe I wasn't giving 100% to the job because I wasn't happy there. But the fact that I got fired, you can't take that personal. It's not necessarily about you. It could be about the fit. It could be about the attitude. But I was still the same wonderful person I had been for all those years. And because I got
Right.
fired, it didn't change who I was. It didn't change my value. And the other thing I really learned was, I felt like I was ready to leave that job, but I was scared, and I had
Hmm.
wished that I had done it on my own terms. But I almost feel
Hmm.
like, I was standing on the edge of the cliff, and I was scared. And I was actually grateful that they pushed me off it and made me go do what I wanted to do, because it gave me the opportunity to focus on my new business. I'm writing a book, and I didn't have the time to do that before. So it really forced me to become who I wanted to be. And I wish I had
Hmm.
had the courage to do that on my own and not wait for them to push me.
You said you were probably already thinking anyway about what was going to be next for you in your next career journey. You've now got a new business, but are there any other aha moments that you had that maybe reshaped your career after that?
Yeah, I guess one of the things as I started, sometimes when you get fired, you don't really want to share it. You don't want to tell people about it. But it
Mm.
was really interesting that I said, okay, I'm just going to talk to people. And as I told people my story, I was amazed at how many people shared similar stories and how many people said, oh, yeah, that happened to me a few years ago and I was devastated. It took me years to overcome. And I guess the big aha moment is, being fired is very common. It probably happens to almost everyone if you work long enough. And to just see it as an opportunity that it's the opportunity to open another door and to step into, whether it be a new job or starting your own business or just doing something completely different. But just, I'm not the only one that faced getting fired, and I need to see it as a chance to do something that's better, and see it as an opportunity, not as a failure.
I feel like before, I mean, now you see a lot of people who, get fired and they want to do it publicly on social media. But, back in the day, I mean, really just getting fired, there's this stigma that you don't want anybody to know because you're embarrassed about it. And I remember, I've been fired before too. And I just was so embarrassed to talk about it because I thought it was going to hurt my chances of ever being hired again. I'm like, no one's going to ever want to hire me. I have this black mark on my record. What if they find out? How do I bounce back from this? But, now I look back at those times when, things were kind of up in the air, you're unsure what's going to happen for you next, but they're really like redirections for you and something better. And then here we are, both of us, now we get to do what we like to do. And, if we didn't get fired before, where would we be? Would we still be at that company? So, I mean, I still struggle with having that confidence to still share with people my get fired story. But how are you able to rebuild your confidence and just stay strong?
I think getting support from people as well. One of the things, the night I was fired, I'm part of a group. I was part of a group coaching group, and they had a call that night. And I was actually really, when I was going to the sales meeting, I was disappointed that I wasn't going to be able to join the call because I was going to be busy. And suddenly I realized, wow, I could join that call. And I shared my story right then when it was fresh in my mind. And the support I got was amazing. I mean, it really, they gave me the courage that everything's going to be okay, that you'll make money, that you'll find something better. And I think just, use your support network. If you get fired, it really helps. If you have friends, family, coaches, anyone that can help was really key in getting my confidence back. And like I said, just believing, it's not about me. Thinking of it as an opportunity was really key. That, just because I didn't fit in there or it wasn't the right job at the right time. I mean, for 9 years, I had been one of the top performers. So that doesn't change overnight. So it's just the situation changed. And don't let that affect your confidence. If the situation changes, it's just a change. It's not a negative. It's not something bad. It's just something that happened, and just roll with it and move on.
Exactly. So I think the first thing, if you ever get fired, is acknowledge your emotions. You're going to be pissed off. You're going to be disappointed at yourself. You're probably going to hate the company and hate everything that's going on because, of whatever's happened to you. You might even be embarrassed like I was. But I think allowing yourself to process those emotions and not being too hard on yourself. And just knowing that, you're going to go through different phases of emotions during the time that you're, trying to find a job or maybe figure out what's next. But I think, just understanding that you will go through those emotions is huge. And then you mentioned also like building a support system, I think is going to be really important. So I think like that's the secret sauce, like being able to find friends, family, mentors that can give you just encouragement and guidance along the way, just will help you lift in your spirits, I think. And I think just staying optimistic. I mean, focusing on what the potential is for the opportunities that lay ahead of you are going to be important. And then I always say, maybe whatever you were doing, it wasn't right for you. And this is a great chance for you to go down a new career path or develop a new opportunity. And I think that's kind of what you did too, isn't it? I mean, you now have your own business. So, do you want to share a little bit about your business?
Sure. Yeah. I agree completely that it's a great opportunity. And, I still have emotions. There are still days I wake up, I'm dreaming about, and I wake up angry. So having those emotions are perfect. But yes, this gave me the opportunity. Like I said, I had started a business called Schooley Mitchell, which was a franchise that was a cost reduction consulting. And since getting fired, I'm working on that business more, but I also started another business called Reimagine You Strategies. And I'm writing a book called The Reinvention Mindset, where I tell my story as well as the stories of other people that had bad things happen to them and have just come out of it stronger and done amazing things, and hopefully can help other people do the same. And with that, in that company, I'm hoping to help individuals, to coach people, to give talks, basically to help people survive and thrive after something bad has happened to them, and just move to the next level and take advantage of those opportunities.
Well, I love it. From fired to fierce, you are it, Lori. I mean, you're doing it. And I like that you've never let it stop you. And I keep seeing wonderful things pop up about you on LinkedIn. I know I saw that you're on a board of directors. And I mean, like, you're doing guest speaking, you're writing this book. I think those are so exciting, just exciting opportunities for you. So, Fired to fierce, that was our hot take. So any other advice you might want to drop for someone fresh out of the firing pan, so to speak, and if they're starting to feel like they don't really know what to do?
I would say just, believe in yourself, journal. If you need to, write it down, get your anger out, get your emotions out, do some meditation. Mindfulness work has really helped me a little bit too. But, whoever you are, whatever you're doing, you're amazing. You're going to do amazing things, and just don't let it get you down.
Awesome. Well, Lori, thank you so much for your hot take.
Thank you.
Well, I hope you guys enjoyed today's hot take. Remember, hot takes are quick episodes getting hot takes on hot topics that are impacting the workplace today. These episodes are going to continue to pop up every week, maybe even after the summertime. So if you don't want to miss an episode, make sure you subscribe to the Jess Get Hired podcast on Spotify or on YouTube. And if you don't have time to watch these videos, I get it. Life is busy. That's okay, because you can take the audio version on the go at Jess Get Hired on your favorite podcast platform. And if you're ready to spice up your life and your career, don't forget to visit spicygnome.com and then head over to my website, justgethired.com. So that has all of the details about who I am, what I do, all of the guests that have been on my show, and maybe how I can help you. Well, if you're also on LinkedIn, I would appreciate if you can connect with me, follow with me, network with me. You can search my full name, Jessica Fiesta George. And then if you're on Instagram, if you follow me, I'll follow you back. Jess Get Hired. Well, my name is Jessica Fiesta George, your host of the Jess Get Hired podcast. What do y'all want to talk about next? I'll catch you on my next episode.